people speak.
Dadar is not South Bombay. It is not South Bombay. It's Dadar.
Mumbai, top 10 food places. It always says Bade Miyan. How many solo trips have you done so far?
Must have done like some 13, 14.
Oh, 13, 14.
But I go for like 2 to 3 months.
What?
And this is specifically for backpacking solo travel. Okay, if you're backpacking anywhere, please carry a backpack.
These travel agents are downright stupid.
Yeah.
मैं उसको जब भी फोन करता सर आपने अप्लाई किया क्या है नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या है हिज फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन वुड बी आप कौन क्यों नंबर सेव कर लेना मैं तेरे को पैसे दे रहा हूँ ना ये करने के लिए
I've not been to Greece and Greece has rejected my visa which is so hilarious because like their economy is terrible. I don't know, they could do so much with my money honestly.
That's
you
true.
have to
That
learn to be
like,
okay in your own company if you want your partner to be okay around you.
That's so much yoga talk. Is really irritating. Like, oh, I do yoga, I have good mental health. I can spend time alone by myself and not start hating everything about me. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of That's Interesting. Yes, we have finally figured out what we're calling this show. And today I have a very wonderful guest, my co-writer on many projects. We've run roasts together and probably going to be roasting each other today at some point. And excited to have this conversation with Sonali Thakur.
Hello, hi, thank you for having me, Hostel.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for dressing up, first of all.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is the first time like we're sitting in such a formal environment.
Yeah, and this is the first time I've seen you like so dressed up.
Without my glasses.
Without your glasses also. Yeah.
I really can't see beyond you.
Oh my God. For those of you who are maybe new to Sonali and Sonali's work, she's a very wonderful stand-up comedian and a wonderful writer. And she usually does not dress up like this. Like if you see this podcast and you end up going to one of Sonali's shows, you will find Sonali in a black sweatshirt with black pants and glasses.
I have 2 pink sweatshirts also.
Pink.
But it's so cold in all the green rooms. I've said it so many times. But I think podcasts... I should put in an effort.
Fair.
Plus, I have all these clothes that I keep buying and then I don't wear them. So then I have to wear them somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. So podcasts are that. This is catfishing. This is what she wears. And then they come for the real. This is not this person. Actually, somebody commented under a YouTube video of mine saying is she an editor? Because she edits herself. And I was so upset when I read that.
Wow.
Anyway.
That's rude. Right. So today, the 2 things we're going to talk about today are you're going to teach me because you've done a lot of solo traveling.
Yeah.
You're going to teach me how to plan a solo travel trip.
Okay, perfect.
And because I did solo travel once.
Yeah.
And I ended up spending most of my time in the hotel.
Okay. So I can already see the first mistake you made. But then when we get to it, I will tell you what mistake you made.
So I just stayed there.
Okay.
Because when I went out, I don't know, it felt like everyone was pitying me for being there alone.
That is your internal voice telling you that you're so sad. Look at everybody else. Everybody is with everybody.
Like, I did the solo travel, but it was not like, मेरे साथ कोई आया नहीं, मेरे पास दोस्त नहीं है. Okay. I had chosen to go because I was getting married the next year.
Right.
So then I was like, शादी के बाद तो solo travel कैसा करें?
Why can't you solo travel after शादी?
अभी ये personal तू मत ले ले.
Yeah. Why can't you solo travel after शादी?
You can solo travel after
शादी. Have you stopped watching football?
No, I
If your wife doesn't watch football.
Absolutely
exactly.
Not.
Some passion. But again, it's not a passion you have of solo traveling, right? So if it was something you were really passionate about, I don't see why you can't do it. But that's a different topic altogether, which I've already delved into another podcast.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. It's okay, we can repeat it here.
Yeah, for sure.
This podcast is better than whatever that other podcast is. Let's go.
I have many POVs about it. Okay, so where do you want me to start from?
Right. No, before that, we'll just do little banter.
Okay, cool.
Little what you are, what you do, why you do. First questions first.
Yeah.
Why are there no Sonali Thakur YouTube videos?
Honestly, I have given so many versions of this answer, but the real version is that I love writing jokes. And I, was honestly hoping that somebody from an OTT would just hand over a special to me. I don't want to. Editing videos is so much hard work.
I know.
It is a lot of hard work. And honestly, people who cross that mountain over, I have so much respect for them because honestly, with the number of people that are uploading videos on YouTube, somebody who's not in the scene might think that, it's so easy to put up a video. But there's so much that goes on. You have to first of all, the number of times you have to shoot it. Okay.
Yeah.
The amount of money that goes behind shooting it. Then once you get the edit, most of the times the creators are like, the comics are not happy with the product, and then you have to do your subtitles. So in the process of subtitling, there is so much self-doubt that comes into it, that you eventually just let the video be, and then you're just then you stop believing in that material that you did.
Yeah.
And then it's a vicious cycle.
But that is the process of releasing a video.
But I don't like doing so much hard work. I just don't like it. It's too excruciating for me. Unless and until... But like...
You think this is a self-belief thing?
What does that mean?
Like the thing... Like... It is true that when you watch your video over and over again, to cuts, to edits, to subtitles, to all of those things, you eventually start believing कि ये तो बहुत ही कचरा जोक है.
Yes.
इसको कौन देख के क्या हंसी आएगी, कैसे हंसी आएगी. Even though you killed with that material on stage.
Like you can hear people laughing.
Even in the video, and this has happened to me for sure, that after a certain point, when I hear the laughs, they start feeling like fake laughs to me in my head.
And they start sounding less. You know, like sometimes when you listen to your favorite song over and over again, and then suddenly it starts sounding slow.
Yeah.
Does that happen to you?
Yeah. I like after you hear a song a lot of times, you can start hearing the like whatever the artist has put in, like the slow drums in the background, the slow rhythm things. You start hearing all of those things. You're like, oh, I think it's just because your brain is so used to listening to the first level sound. So you go like deeper and deeper. And same thing happens with our stand-up when we watch it so many times. Yeah. And you will see the people who are most successful are the people who can fight that demon hardest. Like there are so many comics we know who post a lot of content. Some of them, I'm sure they also know that some of those reels and some of those jokes are not very funny. But it's just the act of just putting it out
letting there. Putting your content. I think it's great. Honestly, I also don't know what my goal is when I put a video out. Like a lot of people have this vision of like they want to sell X number of tickets. I don't know. I'm assuming. I don't know.
For me, it is for sure.
I don't know what my vision is. Like I have done the whole touring stuff. Obviously, I would like to sell more tickets, but I feel like I'm slowly getting a goal why I would like to release a video, and the goal for me is that I want to sleep early, which is why I don't want to do late night shows. But because I don't have my audience, I do a lot of spots, and I'm thankful that I get so many spots. But I do a lot of late night spots, and then I come home late, and then my whole rhythm gets ruined. It's so weird because when I was younger, the fact that this was a night job was the attraction to me. But the older I get, the fact that it's a night job is the thing that comes in the way of me doing my job. So I want to now be able to put up shows at like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock max. I want people to come for me. I want to do my shows, and then I want to go to sleep. And I want to get up in the morning and I want to do yoga. Like this is what I want to do. So this is my goal now.
You do a crazy amount of yoga.
I don't do a crazy amount of yoga, but I do it
very often.
Yeah, I do it often. Yeah.
So what you're trying to say is you're going to start maybe.
I will. Yeah. This is my goal now because I want to. Nobody wants to come at 6 o'clock for shows. Very rarely do they want to come.
Yeah, 6 o'clock is hard to come, dude. Even
6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. These are my 4 time slots that I'm comfortable to work with. I want to finish. I want to do my half an hour, 1 hour.
Yeah, 8 o'clock is like a good spot where people like to come. Yeah. Comics are not too tired.
Yeah.
So it's like a good spot.
Yeah.
10 o'clock also I think is fun. I mean, I don't mind
10 is great. But 10 is great, but I would like to like also have people, because you don't get those many 10 o'clock spots all the time.
Yeah.
Right? You get a far and few because there's so many comics in the scene. All the producers have to accommodate all the comics.
Yeah.
So I would like to like balance it out, and I would like people to come early and who also align with my vision of like, yes, I would also like to sleep early and come with you for yoga.
So if you had your own audience, then you would assume that they will be a little bit like you.
Yes. Right? That's what eventually the aim is. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I have also noticed like in मेरे shows पे जो लोग आते हैं उसमें से ऐसे I like, it's not an overwhelming majority, but more than other people's shows, there are more Muslims in my shows.
Right.
Like hijab दिखते हैं मेरे को audience में बहुत सारे.
Right. They're like हमारा आदमी है.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also to do like I do release a lot of that content, and the reason I release that kind of content is because you write what you know, right? And this is it is personal to me. It is my experience. So if I'm going to talk about it, then it's going to attract the people who've had a similar experience, for example. Like I grew up in South India, so I do joke about that as well.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the more I do those kind of jokes, more South Indians are going
people who relate to that. Yeah.
And
for sure.
that I have noticed that I sell fewer tickets in North India than I do in South India. Like in Hyderabad, in Bangalore and all, I sell out. But in Delhi and all, it's a little...
Yeah, I mean, the markets that will not resonate with you will take a little while for... I mean, I'm sure people who grew up in South India or people who relate to your content still stay there.
Yeah.
But it has to reach them, and it takes a while,
it takes a while for sure.
for us to penetrate that market. Yeah.
And I don't know how true this is, but I think because I speak in English a lot also, I feel like North Indian audiences prefer कि तू हमारी भाषा में बात कर.
Yeah, which is understandable. Which is understandable. Yeah. You just have to find the people who again resonate with you. Like it's the same for me.
Yeah, I understand that. So like but what I have realized because how comfortable I am speaking both languages. जब मैं दिल्ली में perform करता हूँ तो मेरा show 80-20% हिंदी इंग्लिश हो जाता है. 80% हिंदी, 20% इंग्लिश. और जब मैं बैंगलोर perform करता हूँ तो 80% इंग्लिश, 20% हिंदी हो जाता है.
Right.
Which nobody
it's
knows,
great that you can do
nobody
it.
cares. Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah, because if you're confident in the way you're delivering it, that's all that's what makes the difference.
Yeah. I mean, there are some jokes that only work in that particular language.
Right.
That's why it's still like 20%, 20-30% तो रहता ही है जो भी है.
Sure.
But because my show right now, the show that I am touring with, is the Shadi Should I, right? It's about my marriage and all. So it's like a story more than anything else.
Of course.
तो उस story में तो मैं अपनी भाषा में बोल सकता हूँ ना हिंदी में.
Yeah.
I perform like because you're a Thakkar.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation. I'm Kacchi.
Yeah.
So Kacchi is my mother tongue.
Right.
You don't speak any Kacchi.
Kacchi and Gujaratis are honestly different.
Very different. They're very different.
In the same state, but the Kacchi sounds a lot more like Sindhi.
It's more like Sindhi, for sure.
And Gujarati sounds a lot like Gujarati, I guess. Yeah.
And you don't speak Kacchi at all, right?
No, but I do know some words.
Like, tell me some words.
Like there was, once I went for a camp and we all had to like perform something. So there was this one kid who danced on a Kacchi song, and I still remember that. I was like 8 or 9, okay, and I still remember that song so well. He danced, and the song is Asi Kacchi Madure, Asi Kacchi Madure.
So, that's a lot. That's I think a little mix of Gujarati. Like the thing with Kacchi is also the Kacchi that I speak.
Yeah.
And I've met a lot of Kacchi people.
Right.
Every Kacchi person I've met, their Kacchi is very different.
Yeah. Like, but even a lot of
Sindhi influences, it has Gujarati influences.
But a lot of Gujaratis also speak Gujarati very differently.
Yeah.
In very different, like I come from like a region where they say like Nindar for sleep.
Yeah,
and
so I say Nindar too.
Yeah, and in some regions they say Ung. So it's very different.
Yeah,
like even
Ung is I think Kathiawad.
I'm Kathiawad.
You're Kathiawad.
Yeah, so they say Nindar. Yeah, and then some places they say Ung. So it's again very different dialect wise. But I have a very close friend who's Kacchi. And these are the 2 lines I have heard her say her entire life. So these are the only 2 lines. Muke doodh no khape, which means I don't like milk. And muke ghare nahi vanno hai, which means I don't want to come home.
So for me that sounds like someone speaking Kacchi badly.
Which is me, yeah. I mean, this word like I've heard.
No, but you heard that. I'm sure that person that's how they speak.
No,
right?
like
when I say Kacchi, I say mike ghane nahi vinno.
Oh.
So you said no vinno.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, you're saying the word.
No, ghare ni vanno hai.
Ni vanno hai. So like, I'm like, no, that's not the word.
I mean, I'm sure Pitbull is singing properly only in Spanish, but the way I sing it, then it sounds bad.
Yeah, maybe it's that, but it's also the dialect, dude. Like a lot of people like in the Kacchi that I speak, I'm a Kacchi Memar. So like that also is the thing. Like when you meet a lot of Kacchi people, they also have like I'm a Kacchi this, I'm a Kacchi that.
Yeah.
So I'm a Kacchi Memar.
Correct.
And when we speak, we say Toja naam Crow hai.
Yeah.
Crow means what?
Yeah.
In like a lot of Kacchi people will say it like the Sindhi way, chai.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so that
region to region basically
it
differs. Yeah.
And plus like language also evolves over time.
Yeah.
So like I have relatives who are Memars who live in Gujarat.
Okay.
And I grew up in South India.
Okay.
And what happens when you leave a space of origin to like outside, you become more tightly knit with your roots, I think. So like if you meet a Gujarati person who's grown up in America, their Gujarati will be a lot more orthodox than your Gujarati.
Yes.
Because your Gujarati has adopted some Hindi words, some
Yes,
English words
yes,
from local speaking.
yes, yeah.
But those guys, because English is so far away from
Yeah.
Gujarati,
It's
they
more
will
like
stick
pure.
To, yeah, it
Yeah.
will be more pure. Like
Yeah.
so, when I used to go back home to
Yeah.
Surat, where a lot of my family lives, from Mangalore, where I grew up,
Yeah.
I would say in Kacchi, like, nak katarni kidai.
What does that mean?
Where is the nail cutter?
Oh.
But they have the
No
young
idea.
guys, young people my age have stopped using the word nak katarni. They just say nail cutter.
Okay.
So everyone would laugh and be like, "Tu meri dadi jaisa sound karta hai."
I relate to your cousins.
Yeah, because now, because for them they stopped using that word, but because in my
The
house,
fact that I don't even know the Gujarati word for nail cutter.
Exactly, see?
I think they write nail cutter in Gujarati.
yeah, exactly. So that's what the language evolves, right? It adopts words from
You're
local.
younger than me. Why haven't you adopted?
क्योंकि मैं मैंगलोर में बड़ा हुआ ना,
Okay.
तो वहाँ पे सिर्फ हम ही लोग थे जो
Right,
कच्ची में बात कर रहे थे. वो बाहर तो कन्नड़ा में बात कर रहे थे. कन्नड़ा का शब्द मेमनी में मतलब कच्ची में मिक्स होना is a lot harder because the languages are too far away. Plus nobody in my family speaks Kannada or any other local language, right? तो हम आपस में तो सिर्फ कच्ची में ही बात करते हैं. तो मेरी मम्मी पापा जो कच्ची बात करते हैं वही कच्ची मैंने सीखी है.
Correct.
But when you live amongst peers who speak that language,
Yeah.
then you start adopting language words from your peers.
Yeah.
Like if you grew up in Bandra,
Yeah.
that's why you speak a lot more slang English.
Yeah.
Then
I mean, I didn't grow up in Bandra. I grew up in Dadar.
yeah, but like I'm
I
just
lived
saying,
in
for
Dadar.
example,
Now I live in Bandra.
like maybe South Bombay, like where people
Dadar
speak.
is not South Bombay. Bastion
know.
is trying hard to sell you the fact that now that we've opened up in Kohinoor Square, it's South Bombay. It is
I
not
think
South Bombay.
as
It's
a-
Dadar.
As a non-Mumbaiker,
Yeah, they are only thinking that
because in our head, the great divide is the ceiling.
the great divide is autos basically. Before the ceiling, it was autos. जहाँ auto नहीं
Yeah.
चलती वो South Bombay, but it's
Same
central
thing.
suburbs,
Auto-
and then there is
ऑटो वहाँ पे खत्म होता है, सीलिंग वहाँ पे शुरू होता है. तो हमारे दिमाग में तो सीलिंग के उस पार सीलिंग क्रॉस करके अगर जाना है तो साउथ बॉम्बे.
yeah, but no, Dadar is not South Bombay. I mean, I have grown up there my entire life. I would really like to, I love it when people are like, Bastion has opened up in South Bombay, in Kohinoor, Dadar West. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I think Dadar has poor marketing. Like because even when I
Because
hear
it's about Dadar station.
Yeah, like it's always been part of jokes.
Yeah,
यार,
but
कि तू
I mean,
दादर
it
से
will.
दादर स्टेशन में कुचल जाएगा.
Yeah, it will because it is forever been the biggest hub for trains. Like Dadar
Yeah.
TT stands for tram terminus.
Yeah.
So
तो
it
पहले
is
ट्रैम भी वहाँ ट्रैम का स्टेशन भी वहाँ पे होता था.
all the circles that are there, in like there is Dadar circle, then there is a King circle, then there is Science
Science
circle
Circle,
and
yeah.
Chembur circle. These were all like tram terminuses. Like trams used to
Oh.
stop there.
Oh wow.
Now they're just like parking
Dadar,
lots.
but Dadar station I think is the busiest station
Yeah,
probably in the country, right?
because-
There's what 14 platforms, 15 platforms.
I don't know, but like a lot of outstation and like central and like western harbour lines and not harbour doesn't come there, but like central
Western
and
and central
western
lines, yeah.
is over there. So
There
yeah,
was like
it's
a
pretty-
big thing happening. I don't know if I've told you this, I've become a big public infrastructure nerd.
Okay.
So recently they made a significant change in the platform naming scheme. क्योंकि
Okay.
पहले क्या होता था कि वेस्टर्न लाइन के 1 to 9 प्लेटफॉर्म होते थे, सेंट्रल लाइन के 1 to 9 प्लेटफॉर्म
Okay.
होते थे. नाउ दे हैव स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड. It's 1 to like whatever 15, 16, 17. Because what would happen is you'd see your train is platform number 4 and
Yeah.
you're standing at platform number 4.
Yeah.
And you're like 5 मिनट बाकी है, ट्रेन आई नहीं. And then you're
Yeah.
like ये ट्रेन यहाँ पे आ रही है क्या सर? And then you're like, oh ये तो सेंट्रल लाइन में.
Right.
And then you have to like
Right.
carry your bags and run to
Right.
central line.
Right. Okay. So like, oh wow. Yeah, I know
Because
this.
of that confusion,
Yeah.
they changed the names to be like 1 to 15. So then it would say platform number 13 and then you'd go to
Did this happen to you?
yes, it has.
Did you file like complaints to
Like,
like,
मैं
the government?
complaint-
Because you look like the person. Don't you think you
100%.
would do it?
I feel like एक दो साल ही बाकी हैं.
Okay.
I will become that uncle who BMC को मैं मैसेज कर रहा हूँ कि मेरे
I
घर
have
के बाहर
already
कचरा है.
started.
You become that
I have
person.
already started. Dude, my husband and I, if any construction work is going on after 10 o'clock, we call the police. We literally call the police and then name the building next to us that we are calling from that building.
Yeah, because again, another news information I recently read that there was this person in Kandivali who complained that there are illegal footpath, but there are illegal merchants
Okay.
who are selling things and
Ferry
stuff like that.
walas.
हाँ, hawkers basically. तो illegal है, उनको हटाओ types. तो I don't know how, but that information of who complained somehow allegedly reached from some means.
The heads.
the people who are the hawkers.
Yeah.
So they went and beat him up.
Hello, 1 second. Even when we had filed a complaint, I remember once somebody was playing like loud music, and then those boys came outside my building, okay,
Oh my
and
God.
then started asking the watchman. We used to live on the ground floor at that time. They started asking a watchman, and they started abusing, okay, like मुझे पता है is
Something.
you'll beep it out.
I'll beep it out.
मुझे पता है नहीं phone किया है, मुझे पता है. So like, Adit and I got so scared. We switched off all the lights in our house
Oh my
so that
God.
they don't know where we're staying. And like, I'm looking from the curtain and I'm telling Adit, they're calling you.
CAs are best. I have got, like, even now, my most popular YouTube video is me shitting on CAs.
Yeah.
It has like 5 million views or something.
What the hell?
Yeah, and it's still going, dude.
Oh my
It's
God.
still going. It's been so long.
Poor CAs,
like a year ago. And it's not even, I'm not even saying something so abusive or anything.
Yeah,
It's
you're
just,
not.
I said, hey, what's your name? He says, CA Rachit. Okay,
Yeah.
that guy says. And I've, by the way, met this guy.
Yeah.
I went to like Mumbai Indians ka match last year, Wankade.
Okay.
And I was just entering the stadium and he happened to be there. And he was like, hey, do you remember me? I was like, no. He's like, oh, I'm Rachit.
You're 5 million guy.
Yeah, I'm Rachit. I'm the Rachit that you remember that video that you made.
How could you not remember him?
अरे ऑडियंस हमारा स्टेज पे वहां
But
पे
he's the
दिखता नहीं है ना.
first guy, right?
नहीं सेकंड रो में बैठा
second
था.
row. Okay.
तो लाइट के हिसाब से ज्यादा दिखता नहीं है.
Of course.
तो you could.
Yeah, you're telling me I'm a comic. I know.
Yeah, exactly right. And तू तो अभी कह रही है कि तेरे को इधर भी नहीं दिख रहा क्या है. तो what are you telling me for?
I mean, I know Amaya is sitting there, my manager. I can see his spirit.
In spirit, he was here. Yeah. So I met him. He was really cool. He was like, yeah, you know that video. So he had a very nice story. He said, you know that video, I shared it amongst my peers, and then in my circles, it became like a funny thing.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other CAs and all spoke about, and then I ended up making a few, like from the comment section, I ended up making up a few CA friends.
Hilarious.
Of it.
Wow.
And we still hang out.
Wow, you became like mini LinkedIn for them.
Yeah.
That's great.
So like, to the person, it was a positive story. For
Yeah.
me, it was obviously helpful, the video.
Yeah.
And it was, the joke wasn't even like something offensive. I
Yeah.
said, ऐसा CA रचित क्या बोल रहा है? तू डॉक्टर होता तो ठीक है. But
Yeah.
like, you don't have to like prefix CA.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, which attempt? And he was like, first attempt.
Yeah.
Like, and he seemed very proud of it. So
Yeah.
I made a little joke about
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
यार,
I've seen this. I've seen
yeah.
this.
So that's it. And people are like, तुझे पता नहीं कितना मुश्किल होता है. मुझे पता है. मैंने वीडियो में बोला
These are
भी.
people who haven't cleared in the first attempt, so I
Yeah.
get it. I'm one of them.
Did
So
you-
when you also.
Did you become though?
No, I didn't become.
You.
Yeah.
How many attempts did you give?
4.
At which point did you feel like maybe?
When I met Aditya.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I still get those, man. And in the video, and I always go. I've also done an MBA, so I did accounting for one or two. I think क्या बोलते हैं उसको. एक दो थे उसके भी एग्जाम मेरे को देने थे अकाउंटिंग के. तो उसमें मैंने बोला था कि सीखा था ये credit what comes in, debit what goes out. And I still to this day can't remember which one's which.
Yeah.
Because I think that's obviously the common thing that I think people must usually confuse. Not CAs, but like regular people probably confuse. So on stage I said, हाँ तो क्या है इतना बड़ा क्या है CA में credit what comes in, debit what goes out.
Yeah.
And I said the wrong one. So everybody loves to put तुझे इतना भी नहीं पता. हाँ मैं नहीं हूँ ना CA. I don't know why I'm being held to the standard.
Sure, these are basic accounting principles that we learn in the 11th standard,
Okay,
and
which
not
one is which?
debit the receiver, credit the giver, debit what comes in, credit what goes out,
But उसके
debit the
भी दो
losses,
तीन-
credit the gains.
हाँ उसके भी 2-3 अलग variations हैं ना.
No, these are the 3 basic standard rules.
Yeah, but there are 3 of them, right?
So that's what I just said. I said 3 of them.
ठीक है यार.
The thing is, I've ruttered them so I
So
can say
much.
it fast.
Yeah. So while giving exams, is it like you're saying this as a mantra in your head before you're doing it?
No, these are the basic laws. Like, you know how when we learn like algebra equations, like it's like plus minus is equal to minus, minus minus is equal to plus,
Plus, yeah.
plus and plus is plus, like that.
Yeah.
These are
those rules. Yeah,
these are those basic things. Like a plus b, the whole square is like a square plus 2ab
Yeah.
plus b square. Like
Right,
these
right.
are the, like you just
Founding
know
principles,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so these are the foundation.
No, but
this is
what
the
I'm asking
foundation.
is during the exam, do you just
I mean,
like in math when you're writing the
Yeah.
exam, when it's minus minus, you intuitively you just because you know the rule you go
Yeah.
plus. But here because there are 3 different variations and एक में credit है एक में debit है. Like,
right. I mean,
when I gave the exam, it was tough. Like
the higher exams you start giving, these rules I mean, it's a lot more complex, but this is a foundation. Like every balance sheet that you make, like this has to be ingrained in your brain.
I did pass my exam though, I just want to say.
Yeah.
Like, मेरे को अच्छे marks मिले थे.
Yeah, good. I'm happy.
Actually, you know, I mean, now my MBA
I want to know what the person ahead of you scored.
I didn't copy, dude.
Okay.
Because I didn't care enough to put in the effort to copy, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm still very proud of this. That I mean 7.0 के ऊपर MBA में अगर 7.0 grade average के ऊपर आता है तो I think it's called first class or distinction. Like it's the nice one. Like above 7 is like a good grade. And I got 6.9.
Ooh.
I should be upset, but it's like as a comedian now I'm like 6.9. You know what? I don't want the 7.
I mean I'm laughing at the number 69.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't want the 7.
Yeah.
Because वैसे भी अभी hopefully मेरे को MBA का degree अभी rest of my life hopefully I won't need it. I mean you never know.
I mean technically education never goes wasted. So
it never goes waste. Like whatever I learned.
Oh my god, peak 34 answer.
जो कुछ सीखा है जिंदगी में कहीं ना कहीं तो काम आता है.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so whatever I learned, but 6.9 is a fun little number to have. Anyway, let's get started. Solo trip. Yeah, I would like to give you the floor.
Okay.
How to plan a solo trip.
The first thing I think you have to start with is like where you want to go. Your destination. Okay.
Right.
You can either work two ways. Either people who have jobs work from like, okay, this is the period that I have free and this is where I can travel. But I'm a freelancer, so I can usually just go whenever I want. Yeah. So I usually start with the destination. Okay. So for instance, if I want to go to Europe, okay, like any place, it is extremely important for me, first of all, whenever I pick any place, I have to go in the best weather. Like weather is a huge part of where I go. If it is like I have to go in best weather or I have to go in the shoulder season. Like if it is off season for me, like I personally don't want to see the country in an off season. I'm sure it must be an experience to see a place in off season, but for me,
cheaper also. No?
It's cheaper also, but then I can't enjoy the place. It's the way I imagine to enjoy it. You know, like I don't want to go in a rainy season to a place. Like it's going to fuck up my experience. Like I don't want to go in peak winter because then a lot of the places are also shut in peak winter.
Like Greece, for example, in winter is like dead.
So it is extremely important for me to go in like great weather. So when it came to my first solo trip, I first backpacked a lot in India for a year because I wanted to know like our country first before like I want to go abroad. And also I wanted to gain like some confidence and I wanted to do it on a lower budget. And it was also like, I don't know if this is important, but it's also important for you to know why you want to solo travel.
Yeah.
For me, the reason was that I have my entire life, I've lived with my parents. I'd never like moved out for like school, college, job, nothing. Like I'd always lived with my parents.
Right.
So for me, that some sort of independence was really important for me. Like, can I be by myself and stuff? So I think the first place, you start with your destination.
Okay, just a couple of quick questions.
Yeah.
How many solo trips have you done so far? Do you have a number in your head?
Must have done like some 13, 14.
Oh, 13, 14.
15.
Including the ones in India?
But I go for like 2 to 3 months.
What?
So my first solo trip, I went for like 2.5 months. I went to Kashmir and Ladakh. I stayed over there for like 2.5 months.
You're doing the European travel, dude. Like
yeah, then I went to Europe. I did like 3 months of backpacking. 2 months of backpacking in Europe. If I go to a country, I like to stay for at least 3 weeks in that country because it's important for me to also understand the culture of that place. Like you have to soak in yourself a little bit into the environment. You want to do a little bit of the countryside. You want to do the city. You want to do the mountains. You want to also just chill at a lot of places and just sit at a cafe and read and just do nothing. Like you want to see everything. So for me, I may not see the whole world, I feel, but I will, whatever I've seen it well, and I will never probably go back to that country again.
Yeah. I recently came back from Japan, right? I went to Japan and I went for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I swear how much shit people gave me. Like my family and all.
Yeah.
2 हफ्ते के लिए 2 हफ्ते के लिए.
It is minimum.
Yeah.
It is important. I'm so glad you went because
there's so many things I didn't end up doing.
So many people
Still, like 2 weeks is still not enough.
Like so many people go to a country and then do like 2 days in like my friends recently asked me for a trip for an itinerary to go to Portugal, and then they did like 2 days in Lisbon, 2 days in Porto. 2 दिन में क्या करना है? 2 days तो I remove for travel only, going and coming.
Yeah.
So if I go to a big city, it is important for me to stay at least for like 5 nights in that city.
Yeah.
Because first day of travel and last day of leaving, so you count how many proper days you have. Like you have proper 3 full days. That's how you're supposed to count it.
Yeah.
So again, destination you find, weather you find, do your research, read some blogs. This is
How do you do like the best? Because like if you do like if you do Bombay, like Mumbai, top 10 food places, it always says Bade Mian. And if Bade Mian is not
but then nice. I don't look at I don't know how to explain this, but like I will definitely read a lot of when it comes to like blogs. I always trust blogs over like videos that people put up on YouTube, because honestly people in videos meander a lot. In blogs it's like to the point,
Yeah,
when
but
they write.
Side headings you can just
Side
see.
headings are there. It's to the point. So there are a few blogs that I always refer to that have always given me like good information. There's this blog called Nomadic Matt that gives like amazing information. There's this other blog that I always refer to, which is called My Funky Travel. But again, first I decide, like for instance, when I wanted to go to New Zealand, or when I wanted to go to Cambodia, I specifically type 4-week backpacking itinerary for Cambodia. So I get only those 4-week itineraries. I don't get those 10-day ones. I don't get those 12-day ones. I get those 4 weeks. I figure out where I want to go. That's the first expense. That's the first way. Like this is the rough itinerary that I have. Then I start. Then I figure down that okay, if I have a month in a country, I need to spend at least like 3 to 5 nights in a place. Like if I go to a big city, then I have to spend 5 nights. If I go to a small town, then I have to spend like minimum 3 nights. I rarely do like 1 night in a place, because then I'm getting no experience over there.
Yeah.
So
Where do you prefer staying? Cities or like smaller towns?
I land in a city because the connectivity
Obviously.
from our country to the place will always be the city. But I love villages. I love small town places. I love the city life, but I also love villages.
Is safety not a scary thing or an issue? How do you deal with that? I mean, as a solo female traveler, how do you?
I feel like honestly, I have had some safety issues, but I have never had a safety issue in India. It has never happened. Like I have never had even like people are so protective of you when they see you're traveling alone, especially when I started, which was like 10 years back.
But I'm like, from what I have read and what's been happening, it seems like it's a very person to person.
It is a very person to person. I have had like one safety issue in Cambodia, but it had nothing to do with the locals of Cambodia. It had to do with the English people who had settled there and had opened a cafe. I got into a fight with someone from a cafe. That was a different thing. But I feel like, when you're also traveling alone, there are certain rules you should live by. These are my safety rules for myself, that I don't reveal private information to anybody.
Where you're staying.
Yeah, it's very common for people, if they become friends with you, to ask you, hey, where are you staying? Which hostel are you staying in? Even though they might be asking from like a very innocent place, it is up to you to not reveal your private information. So you don't tell people which hostel you're staying in or whatever. And
how do you deal with that? Like if someone asks you, like if you're just met someone at a cafe or for something, and when you're doing a solo travel and you're going to one of these touristy places, you end up talking to a lot of other tourists as well.
I'll tell you exactly a real situation that happened. I basically went to Goa for IFFI Film Festival, and I was walking in Panjim, and then I bumped into someone who had seen me perform. I'd performed in Goa, so he was also at the film festival. He had watched me perform, and very innocently asked me like, "Oh, so where are you staying?" I'm not gonna tell you where I'm staying.
Yeah, but how do you?
So I just say I live around here, close by.
Acha.
I think they also understand eventually, and I feel like because they know you, they feel that it's a very harmless question.
If let's say if I asked you and you said I live
If you
close by.
ask me, I know you, but this person is a
Yeah, but
stranger.
like a new person. And
Yeah.
if you said, even if that person has some context to you, that person's, if you said, I live nearby or close
Yeah.
by, or a vague answer like that,
Yeah.
they would probably not pester.
Yeah,
So they'll be like, they'll
nobody
get it, okay.
pesters after that.
Yeah.
Usually, I feel like that answer kind of gives them like the sign that, oh, I think I've crossed the line by
Yeah,
asking
I
like,
should
where
not,
does she
yeah.
stay? So, you don't reveal your private information. If you're in a village like Ladakh, maybe don't also step out after like 9 or 10. Not that there's anything to do also over there after 9 or 10, but don't step out like after 9 or 10. And if you're in a city, then yeah, like a Paris or like a Barcelona or something, it's pretty safe, honestly, to be on the streets, I would
Paris
say.
is safe? I've heard like Paris is one of the like notoriously like bad places.
I have had my phone stolen in Barcelona. And when I went to Paris, I was mentally, when I went clubbing, we went on a pub crawl from the hostel. I was mentally prepared to lose my wallet, to lose my phone, or to lose my glasses. Okay, so then after my pub crawl, I remember when I woke up in my bed and I checked my wallet is there. I was like, okay, that's weird. Then when I checked my glasses, I was like, okay, fuck my glasses. My phone is also there. Oh my god, what just happened? And then I looked down at my legs. I had injured myself. I was like, okay, something happened.
You
But
had a crazy
yeah,
night.
yeah. Dude, man, I don't know how I got back to my hostel that night. But yeah, like,
But if you went with your hostel, then
Yeah.
there was like some sort of figure who
Yeah.
was sort of responsible for
like a chaperone taking
like a
care of
chaperone
yeah, yeah.
for your safety. Like if you stepped out, if you you can do a pub crawl on your own also.
Yeah,
You just have
no,
to, like,
that's
go
just sad.
on your own.
Yeah.
By that I mean like
You
you
can
can
also
plan
go
it on
clubbing.
your own.
Yeah,
You can just
yeah.
go to like 3-4 different places.
Yeah.
Maybe like a bunch of friends that you've made along
Yeah.
the way and stuff like that. But it is obviously safer to go with like a it's more expensive, I'm assuming.
I mean, to go with a hostel?
Yeah.
No, not at all. Actually, it's. I'll get to the hostel part later. But honestly, by the third bar that you go to in a pub crawl, सब अपने आप पे ही है. Like even the chaperone is drunk, the chaperone is doing their own thing. It's all everybody is
Everybody's
responsible for
themselves,
each
yeah.
other, their own
Yeah.
selves. So again, so now if you're going to go to Europe, the best thing I would say if you're backpacking anywhere, first of all, and this is specifically for backpacking solo travel, okay? If you're backpacking anywhere, please carry a backpack. Don't like people say I'm going backpacking and then carry a suitcase. Like that makes no sense. I always like to stay in like really good hostels. For me, my golden rule is like if it's less than 8, if it's rated less than 8 on hostelworld or booking.com, then I'm not going there. So Hostelworld is a good app
Yeah.
to like find your hostels. And as a solo traveler, it's a great social environment to like live in a hostel. So when you said you went for a solo trip and
Yeah.
you spent most of your time in the hotel,
Yeah.
ideally stay in a hostel.
Yeah, because
So
there'll be
that
some activities going on there.
There's activities throughout the week. Like one day they're taking you like river rafting, or one day they're taking you to a mountain place, or one day there are pub crawls happening, or sightseeing and stuff like that.
Yeah. I was there for like it was a 10-12 day trip, and I was in a hotel for a couple of days. Mostly I was in hostels, not for any other reason
Where
apart
had
from
you gone?
I went to Manali, Kasol.
Okay.
So I stayed in hostels only mostly.
Yeah.
I did meet a bunch of people and
Right.
all, but it always felt like if I meet a group of people and I'm alone, it felt like they were ठीक है आजा तू भी हम जा रहे हैं इधर. And
Right.
I'm also like I do want to go,
Right.
but I don't want to
Intrude.
intrude.
You don't want to be a pylon in there.
Yeah, I don't want to. But then it's just like
Yeah.
So it's I found it very awkward that way. But like maybe now if I go, having done a lot more traveling since then,
Yeah.
and if I do a solo trip now, I think I'll be a little more comfortable
I also feel like
because I just do my own thing.
I also feel like the culture of hostels in India is very different from Europe or Southeast Asia for that matter. When I went to Manali and Kasol, there were no hostels that time over there. So I also stayed in hotels only. And people who we interacted with, like a friend of mine and I had gone Kasol and Rashol backpacking. We only met like fellow travelers who were there. Or mutual interests that we had, or like if they're sitting in a cafe, then you just become pals with someone. But I think Hostel in India has really good hostel culture
Yeah.
because
Hostel is really
they have
nice.
like an activity manager,
Yeah.
and that activity manager really makes an effort to go to the travelers, gets them together. They play games, they play cards, they have like activities listed from Monday to Sunday that this is what we can do. So even if people are traveling in groups and you're a solo traveler, if you're going together to a place, you end up like talking to them.
Yeah.
So if you want to find hostels, I would say like Hostel World is the best app for hostels, and Booking.com is like a good app to find like guest houses, B&Bs,
none of the Make My Trips and...
Oh God, Make My Trip is only good to like book flights. Please don't book your accommodation from Make My Trip. Like it's...
Why?
No, like I would say the chances of you getting catfished for accommodation from like a Make My Trip or Go iVivo is very high.
Oh, because the listings are not like vetted properly and stuff?
Yeah, vetted. Again, I don't want to like say anything bad about them, but like I would say I've had a 100% experience with a Hostel World. Like Hostel World is specifically for hostels.
Yeah, but like, so when I was traveling, when I tried like Hostel World and all, a lot of the hostels and a lot of the hotels were not listed on there. A lot
of the hostels were not listed on a Hostel World.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
on Booking.com, I could see that it was called a hostel, but in the Hostel World, that it wasn't there.
Yeah,
so I think they have a very small pool.
So Hostel World is mostly international, and Booking.com you will find like Indian hostels are listed on Bookings.com a lot.
No, I'm talking internationally. Like Booking.com feels like uske paas sab kuch hai. Like
A lot of your
everything is on it.
hostels were not listed on Hostel World.
Yeah.
But then,
They had their own listings, of course.
right.
But there were like some hostels that maybe were like very cheap, but that were on Booking.com, but not on Hostel World. I think it's like probably like a selection pool sort of thing. Where
But
Hostel
I also don't go for very. See, again, there is a range in hostels. I always go. The ones that are rated 8 and 9 will be a little expensive, but I always go for those because I know the experience that I want out of living in a hostel is going to be achieved at those hostels versus the ones that are not so highly priced, because I've lived in the not so highly priced hostels, and the hygiene plays a huge role for me in hostels.
Right. And safety also?
Safety is a huge, like I know so many people who lived in like slightly cheaper hostels in Thailand and have had like massive safety issues. So safety is a huge, like I literally Googled top 10 hostels to stay in XYZ place, like top 10 hostels to stay in Budapest. And then I will only stay, and I'll obviously see like 5-6 blogs, and I'll see which are the ones that are often getting repeated, and then I will only stay in those hostels.
So that's your this thing. Right?
That's my barometer. And again, the kind of hostels you go for, like the kind of hostels I opted for when I was 24 was very different from the hostels I stayed in when I was 28, or very different from the hostels that I stayed at when I was 34. They keep changing. Like earlier it was like party hostels. Then they were like semi-party hostels, like, you know, then it became like, mostly for like writers and like freelancers and work, people who are like work from home people. So you get that range of hostels as well. And I think that's how I pick my places. Also,
so just give me like this thing of like 3-4 point checklist of safety, how you make sure you're always safe wherever you travel, and like a 3-4 point checklist of how you decide where to go, where to eat, where to party, where to like what tourist destinations to visit and what not to visit. Like I have a general rule: if there is a Ferris wheel, if there is a photo location that people on like Google will say, I never go to those places.
If there is a Ferris wheel.
Yeah, like I don't know why.
Oh, like London Eye or like Singapore Eye. Yeah. Oh my God, I love those things, by the way.
I hate them. I'm like, I stood in line for like 45 minutes and I spent so much money to like get a bird's eye view of like buildings. I mean.
But like, what were you expecting?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Then isn't it your fault?
Fair, but like I did it. I went to the Singapore Eye thing once.
Yeah.
And I've been to London, I've been to Tokyo.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to their towers and their this thing.
That's great. Like,
अच्छा ही लगेगा, I'm sure.
I felt like this when I went to Paris, and I was like, dude, I don't want to climb the Eiffel Tower, because what is the point? Like, you're just going to look down. I'd much rather go to another place. Like, there are a few places listed which are at the same height, where the people who wrote the blogs were like, you much rather see the same view that you can see from the top of the Eiffel Tower, but from this place you can see the same view and the Eiffel Tower. That makes more sense. So I went to those places. Also, it's too expensive going up the Eiffel Tower. And I was a backpacker.
All of these places,
so I was
all these towers, all these Ferris wheels, they're all like very expensive. And I feel like the view is not that big.
Yeah.
A deal. Especially, like, I don't know, maybe I'm spoiled now because of like living in Mumbai. But you cross this bridge in Lower Parel and you will see like 50, 60 towers around you. So I feel like, है देख लिया यार, बहुत सारी लंबी बिल्डिंगें देख लिया.
Thing, but okay.
I'm sorry. My Desh Bhakti is coming out here. But I think I
don't think the San Francisco Bridge and this bridge is the same thing.
Hey, our Sea-Link is very pretty.
Golden Gate, right? That's what they call it.
I have no idea, but our Sea-Link is very beautiful.
Our Sea-Link is beautiful. It is the top 10 tourist attractions of Bombay.
That is actually sad.
Yeah.
That it's a top rated tourist attraction. But like when you रात को जब तुम बैंड्रा से वर्ली की तरफ सीलिंग क्रॉस करते हो ना, और you see the lower Parel Worli,
at night it's very beautiful.
It's very pretty.
Oh, not arguing how beautiful it is for sure, but it's not the same.
It's not the same for sure. But like I don't see the appeal. Like when I travel, I don't want to go to the places where you take pictures.
You don't want to go to places where you take pictures?
Yeah.
As in?
Like if the tourist activity at that location is it's so pretty. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I want an activity.
Okay. But like you don't want to see a tourist attraction?
I might do one or two because I'm here.
But like if you go to Turkey and they're like, okay, Blue Mosque is a tourist attraction, don't you want to see it?
Okay, the Blue Mosque I might go to.
Yeah.
Like, okay, for example, in Tokyo, we went to, in Osaka, we went to the Osaka Castle.
Okay.
And then we went to Dotonbori. These are like top tourist destinations.
Right.
We went to like Dotonbori is like a food market area. So we went there to eat and it's like glitz and all those big signboards and all of that weird stuff, which is fun. And Osaka Castle because it was like very pretty.
Yeah.
And one thing that I have to give to the Japanese is they make all these boring things also very interesting. Like in the Osaka Castle, it's like a tall castle. Every floor there is an activity to do.
What is the activity?
Like on one floor, it's the history of the war, but told through holograms.
Right.
On one floor, they have like a photo booth where you can dress up as a samurai.
You can dress up?
As a samurai.
That happens in Kashmir also. You can dress up as Kashmir ki Kali.
All those things, right? So they have that also. You can wear the kimono, like
Cute.
Mariam wore the kimono and I wore like the samurai, this thing, the whole this thing and all.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. Every floor had like something to do.
Right.
Which was interesting. Plus there's historical context to read and stuff. So interesting.
Right.
But there's like Osaka Tower. There was also a Ferris wheel there. In Tokyo, there's the Tokyo Tower.
Right.
So like, usme kya hai ki they'll be like, you can buy stuff here. You can go on top and you can see like, they make it interesting by like, they put like nice lights and it's very aesthetic.
Right.
So it's cool to take pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to do activities. Like,
sure.
I want to like trek somewhere.
Right.
I want to like do skiing.
Yeah.
I want to rent a car and go on a drive on the mountainside. I think
honestly, you can do this literally in any place.
Yeah.
You can do this anywhere. So honestly, when people go to a place, like I remember when I had gone to Ladakh and I was in Turtuk. Okay, Turtuk is now, it is such an interesting village. It was a part of Pakistan first. Okay, Turtuk. It's because
I didn't know
all of Ladakh, they speak
Turtuk
Ladakhi.
Where is Turtuk?
Turtuk is on the corner, it's on the border basically.
Of Turkey?
No, of India, Ladakh.
Of India, okay.
Yeah. So everywhere they speak Ladakhi, but in Turtuk they speak Balti because it was a part of Baltistan. Okay, first, but then after the
language is called Balti?
Yeah, it's called Balti. So after the 1971 war, basically India captured like 5 villages and Turtuk was one of them. And literally, if you go to Turtuk from your window, the next mountain range is Pakistan. Okay. And yet you will meet, I met travelers who were like, but what is there to do here? Like, but you can do anything. Like you can walk up to the villages. You can like, have a homestay experience. And you can, so honestly, you can do anything in any place. It's very hard to get bored. But to answer the questions that you said, when it comes to safety, the first thing I guess I will think about is, what are people on the internet saying about this place? You know, what is like the safety aspect over here? If I'm staying in a hostel, I need them to have like a locker. I need a private locker. I need it to be in a safe area. I don't want it to be in a very like remote location of the city. I don't want it to be far off. And I think these are the things that I would keep in mind. And I would definitely read the reviews about the place, you know.
Yeah. But those reviews are also like, it's hard to believe them. Sometimes they are also paid for.
Yeah, but I feel like the more you travel, the more you come to know how authentic these reviews are, because you also learn to gauge people who are reviewing. Like if you click on a great review and you see this person has reviewed only 2 places, then you know this person is either fake person. But if this person has reviewed like some 60-70 places and this is one of the reviews, then you learn to trust this reviewer.
Right. So you learn how to catch the bullshit.
You learn to gauge the metrics, like what it is. So this is one of my ways.
Yeah, and how do you plan the itinerary?
I Google. I literally chapo somebody else's itinerary. I see what are the places.
Okay.
I have a lot of Lonely Planets also. But
what does that mean?
Lonely Planet is a travel book. Lonely Planet is like for Europe. I bought this
Lonely Planet for a solo traveler.
Yeah.
That just sounds sad. That sounds very sad.
I know, but it's a great guidebook. Actually, it's a very useful guidebook. One of the guidebooks they had was Europe on a shoestring. So it was mostly for like backpackers. So I have that edition, but a lot of the places are not updated. So I go on like Google. Yeah,
but like in my travel experience, I've found like those top 10 places to go and all. They are not very reliable.
But I don't think you're supposed to, I don't think you're looking for the right things when you Google. You're supposed to look at people's blogs, what people who have experienced and traveled and what they have written about it. I also do very different types of travel. Like, okay, now if I just want to like focus on a country, I'll see what are the places to like see in the country. When I went to Europe, I did like I wanted to shake things up. So I did like 9 cities and then I stayed for like 5 nights in every city because I wanted to do like the top city. So then I just backpacked like most of the cities and like one sort of...
Is travel between cities cheap?
It can be if you take buses and trains. I prefer in Europe, I prefer taking buses. So there's this bus called Flixbus. Even in Turkey and all, I used to take buses. I think buses, I love traveling by buses. It's like the best. You can see the whole country when you're traveling. You can see the whole countryside, and then all these buses, they stop at like these smaller stops. And they have like, dhabas, but their version of dhabas is very different.
Yeah.
And it is such a local experience to stop at these like middle of nowhere cafes and...
Yeah, but like over there, I'm assuming when you stop at these middle of nowhere cafes, no one is selling you bullshit. They're
like cafes. They're like very small cafes, so you can go and buy, like, it's like Datta Vada Pav that we stop at. Nobody's selling you anything. You willingly stop there to like buy something. Yeah. So, these are their versions of like Datta Vada Pav, although much less crowded. But I love these smaller places that you stop at. It makes the whole experience of like...
Yeah, but you don't prefer trains? Like I prefer trains. Like I think buses, maybe because I'm tall and I don't fit a lot of the places, so they're uncomfortable.
I got into a huge fight once because of like reclining seats in a bus in Portugal.
That I hate that stuff. Like,
it was such a bad fight. And then, but that was the only exception. But I feel like buses are a lot cheaper compared to trains, and they're a lot faster. Like I feel like I just get out of the place, and then I feel like train stations freak me out. I've taken them, but I'm a little more scared to take trains because what if you're late? There are so many platforms you have to navigate.
Bus mein bhi nahi hota aisa.
Bus stop, it's like one bus stop, and also the tickets of buses are cheaper than trains, I feel.
Right.
And the frequency of buses is way higher than trains.
Yeah. I mean, I also took a bunch of buses. In my the Japan trip, we took buses only a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because the Shinkansen, even though the bullet train is all cool and all.
Yeah.
The problem with the bullet train, which you don't realize, is the speed of the bullet train might be helpful for like people who live there and who have business there. But for a traveler, it's actually a negative.
Because you're going too fast?
Because मैं सुबह मेरी होटल से चेकआउट करके बुलेट ट्रेन में बैठा, मैं 3 घंटे में अगली जगह पे पहुंच गया, तो मेरे को वहां पे एक और होटल बुक करनी पड़ेगी. बट इफ आई टेक द बस विच इज ओवरनाइट, तो मैं यहाँ पे चेकआउट करके पूरा दिन वहां पे चिल करके रात को बस लेके सुबह वहां पे पहुंचूंगा, एक और जगह पे चेक इन करूंगा, मेरा एक दिन का होटल का खर्चा बच गया.
But then you get to see the place na for that extra day that you go over there.
I get to see this place also for the extra day. Like an overnight journey, right? तो मैं जहाँ से निकल रहा हूँ, even if I take an overnight bullet train, I will reach there by like whatever, like 2 बजे 3 बजे रात को.
Yeah.
It becomes like the bus made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
because it was cheaper also,
Yeah.
and it saved one hotel night
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah, that.
So I took the buses. I took the bullet train once just for the experience.
Also, low cost airlines are, a lot of people opt for it because they're so cheap and you're going to reach the place the same day. But I feel like with low cost airlines, it is so tricky because they charge you for your bag, they charge you for your luggage extra, which people don't realize. Like, I think once you take the low cost airline, you realize that
I think it's
I'm getting
because
charged.
Indians we don't have that here.
Indigo's, like, then you have so much respect for Indigo as an airline. Well, at least हमारे वाले तो हमें charge नहीं करते.
हाँ,
Yeah.
हमारी सब फ्लाइट्स
Yeah.
में एक बैग 15 किलो का, बट एक बैग तो इंक्लूड होता ही है.
Yeah, and if you have 2 kilos ऊपर नीचे and you're like, please adjust कर लो मैडम.
छोड़ देते
Sometimes they're most likely to like
हैं.
adjust.
एक डेढ़ किलो तक तो सब छोड़ देते हैं.
Yeah.
Because it's just not worth the hassle. Even they know
Yeah.
that this person is Indian, so he's definitely not going to pay.
Yeah.
He's going to open the bag here. He's going to remove some 2-3 jeans and hold it in his hand. Why are we doing this?
Yeah. I've done that. I've been a victim of that.
I have
I'm
done
like,
that too.
Yeah, we've all done it.
They've all done
Nobody
it.
wants to pay extra.
I'm not going to pay extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, this flight is too expensive.
Yeah.
I'm not paying extra. I think that also is one of the reasons why in India, in flights and all, no, people are a little rude and they misbehave a little bit.
Okay.
Because we are still new to travel in
Luxury?
flights. This luxury, I mean, it's
Yeah.
so-called luxury. It's not luxury.
Yeah.
It's basic now.
Yeah.
But it's still new for a lot of people, and it's expensive for a lot of people. So when you pay
You know
that
who
much
relates
money,
to you? Siddharth Anand, the director of Fighter. 90% of India.
I don't know about the statistics, but from my experience of traveling to a bunch of places and taking so many flights is that
Yeah.
when you see a regular flyer, no,
Yeah.
they are not misbehaved.
Yeah.
Because they are not looking at this travel and the amount of money they spent on this flight as like मैंने 5,000 रुपए
वसूलना
खर्चा किया है मेरे को वसूल करने का है.
Yeah.
Like मैं सीट में बैठूंगा मेरे ये that's
मैं हर 15 मिनट पानी मंगाऊंगा.
yeah, they are not coming with that attitude because
Yeah.
they've done it so many times.
Yeah.
They're like मेरे को पहुंचा दो बस.
Yeah.
कहीं पे भी बिठा दो वहीं पे वहाँ
Yeah.
मेरी जगह पे पहुंचा दो.
Yeah.
And I think that just in a few years
Yeah.
it's just a natural process.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'll tell you why I think you are stupid for giving other people money for visas. Okay.
Yeah.
One anecdotal story which I think my audience is going to get sick of because I'm not going to stop talking about it is
Okay.
my Vietnam experience, which I
Okay.
have already off the camera, I've already shared with you, but I'm going to tell you again,
Yeah.
just for the purpose of
I
this
don't,
podcast.
but you didn't tell me in detail.
Yeah, because I was saving it for this.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So I went to Japan,
Okay.
right? And there was no direct flight at that time.
Oh, you did tell me in detail.
Yeah,
Huh.
so there was no direct flight at that time.
Yeah.
मेरा visa आ गया, मेरी flights book हुई, सब हो गया, and then immediately after they started direct flight, which is cheaper than my flight, and it's a full service flight, which means 46 kilos and everything, and it was amazing. And I couldn't take that flight because I already booked this Vietjet
Right.
cheap.
But
I mean,
that
it's
time
not cheaper.
there was no direct flight to Tokyo.
Yeah, to Japan.
Okay.
It was all via somewhere,
That's so weird.
Singapore or
Yeah.
something like that. Now there is a direct flight. It's a 8 to 9 hour flight, and
Oh, wow.
ANA Airlines. Yeah, and full service flight. So you get 46 kgs of luggage,
Great.
nice seats, comfortable flight. So if you ever want to go, it's about 38-39K round trip,
Okay.
which is I think pretty good.
It's
और
amazing.
और उनका वीजा 500 रुपए का है
Superb.
जापान का.
Wow.
VFS processing charge
Like
650
500 rupees?
500 rupees.
Shut up.
Yeah, the
Oh my
visa is
God.
500 rupees.
Amazing.
And it's very easy process. It's not like Europe and
Yeah.
England and all that.
Yeah.
Where they're like, तुम्हारे मम्मी पापा का नाम क्या है?
Yeah.
जन्म
तुम्हारी
तिथि बताओ.
जायदाद क्या है?
जायदाद कितनी है तुम्हारे
Yeah.
पास? They literally ask you तुम्हारे
Give
पास
us
जायदाद है
proof.
क्या?
Give us
Yeah.
proof that you're going to come back.
Yeah, stuff like that. So Japan में, I mean, they ask you a lot of questions, but it's not so serious.
Yeah.
And the visa is very easy. 500 रुपए का visa है. If your visa gets rejected, the Japanese government will refund your money.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That is
Yeah.
really good ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
तो जापान का वीजा 500 का है और VFS प्रोसेसिंग चार्ज 650 रुपए का लेती है. Which is just VFS. But
Okay.
you have to go through VFS. You
Yeah,
can't do
you
otherwise.
can't do anything else,
1150 होता है ना. हाँ, 1150
Yeah.
का वीजा आता है. तो वेरी सिंपल प्रोसेस 3-4-5 दिन में आ भी जाता है. Then so I did this and my flight was via Vietnam, so I had to get the Vietnam visa. Now जाते वक्त Vietnam, वापस आते वक्त Vietnam. So I was like, उसका भी ई वीज़ा है, ऑनलाइन अप्लाई करने का है. So I was like, मैं मल्टीपल एंट्री का 1 month का वीज़ा अप्लाई कर देता हूँ.
Okay.
So I applied multiple entry 1 month visa, which is $50 per person.
Okay.
तो 8,500 almost.
Okay.
$50 for me, $50 for Mariam.
Okay.
4,500, नहीं 4,500.
Yeah.
Is about 8,500 for both of us. Is $100. For
And
both
how
of
much time were you supposed to be in Vietnam for?
us. एक दिन.
You mean like you
जाते
reach
वक्त
at
एक
what
दिन.
time?
मैं सुबह 6 बजे पहुंचने वाला था.
Yeah.
और रात को 12 बजे की फ्लाइट थी. फिर वापस आते वक्त शाम को 7 बजे पहुंचने वाला था. फिर अगले दिन शाम को 7 बजे की फ्लाइट.
Okay, cool.
तो मेरे वीज़ा में, मेरे पासपोर्ट में एक इशू है कि मेरा जो सरनेम है ना, उसमें कुछ लिखा हुआ नहीं है. सो माई नेम इज मोहम्मद हुसैन ऑन माई पासपोर्ट. इट्स अ गिवन नेम. देयर इज नथिंग इन माई सरनेम.
Okay.
विच इज ऑलवेज अ इशू. जहाँ पे भी
Okay.
मैं जाता हूँ ये इशू है. ये मेरे पापा ने हम सबको एक गिफ्ट तोहफा तरीके दिया है.
Okay.
मेरे भाई के भी पासपोर्ट में ये इशू, मेरे में भी, मेरी
Yeah.
बहन में, मेरे खुद के पापा में और मम्मी
Yeah.
में भी. Nowhere it has a surname. Because my dad was trying to streamline all names. Because it's a problem in India, dude. Every person, a lot
Yeah.
of people in India have different names and different IDs.
Yes.
Like, especially in Gujarat, and if you've moved states and all, it definitely happens.
Right.
Because in Gujarat, like Mariam, my wife, her name on her birth certificate is Mariam Banu Jumma Iqbal Pothiawala. It's like so
Okay.
many names. But on her passport, it's Mariam Pothiawala.
Okay.
Which is simpler.
Yes.
तो फिर mismatch ये सब होता है. तो
Yeah.
my father, to streamline it, he removed the surname. Our surname is Pothiawala.
Okay.
He removed that surname from everywhere. It's just Mohammed Hussain. To streamline it. तो अभी surname नहीं है. तो surname नहीं है तो क्या करना पड़ता है? You have to like give a name. You have everyone has different ways of doing it. Give a name, Mr. And surname is your full name, Mohammed Hussain.
Yeah.
Some people do given name Mohammed Hussain, surname LNU, last name unavailable. Some people do first name unavailable, FNU, Mohammed Hussain. तो ऐसा सब प्रोसीजर होता है.
This is the
वियतनाम
first time I'm hearing of this.
न्यू इन्फॉर्मेशन.
Yes.
एंड मेरे लिए थोड़ा इजी है बिकॉज मेरे में 2 नाम है, मोहम्मद हुसैन. बट इफ यू हैव अ सिंगल नेम, जस्ट मोहम्मद और जस्ट हुसैन in
I
your
don't
given
think that's
name,
allowed, na?
not anymore.
Yeah.
But it used to be allowed before. So there
Okay.
are lots of Indians especially which have single names passports.
Okay.
Now a lot of countries are even are not allowing you to come into the country. Like UAE, you can't travel to UAE if you have a single name passport.
Okay.
My brother has a single name passport.
Oh.
He has only Farhan in his this thing.
Wow.
And no surname. But he's got US का visa.
So
तो अभी
that
10 साल-
tops everything.
Yeah.
That tops your name only.
Exactly.
Yeah.
तो अब वो 10 साल के लिए वेट कर रहा है.
Yeah.
जब तक US का वीजा है तब तक वो क्योंकि पासपोर्ट चेंज करता है फिर वो वीजा रद्द हो जाता
Yeah,
है.
yeah,
So he's gonna wait till the US visa runs out and then he'll apply for a new visa.
yeah,
And I didn't know this, but if you have 2 names in your passport,
yeah.
you can split it to given name, surname, and that's a very easy process. But if you change your name, you know how the process of changing your name is on the passport?
Yeah, I've changed it.
It's absolutely insane, dude.
I mean, it's not that difficult.
क्या न्यूज दो लोकल और
You have to
नेशनल
give,
न्यूज़पेपर में
you have
ऐड
to
डालो.
attest. You think that is difficult, but applying for visa is not difficult. You think this is... Honestly, for me, I feel like my passport renewal had come at the same time when I had changed my name. You have to put it in the newspaper, then you have to like notary, you have to inform the notary.
Yeah.
And you have to give your...
Like a bunch of documents. But if you
yeah.
have to split your name, which I'm going to do now,
Yeah.
is you just have to like tell them.
Name and last name.
हाँ मेरा
Yeah.
मोहम्मद हुसैन है तो मोहम्मद और हुसैन कर दो.
Yeah.
सरनेम में हुसैन डाल दो.
Yeah.
And they will do that.
Yeah.
And that's very simple. तो मैं तो वो तो कर ही दूंगा अभी.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be applying that now. So because of that,
Yeah.
because of this whole situation, the e-visa, they need your name to be exactly in your passport name. So ये
Correct.
Mr. FNU, LNU ये सब नहीं चलता. So one trick is I could have done the simple thing, just done Muhammad given name, surname Hussain,
Correct.
and just gone with it. But then I was like, अभी
I don't want to do anything wrong.
yeah, मैंने अप्लाई तो कर दिया था, but I was like ये 3-4 हज़ार रुपए के लिए मेरे को ये रिस्क नहीं लेना. वहाँ and I had read like on Reddit and all like people saying कि नहीं जाने देते अंदर देश में, like they won't let you get on the flight and all. So I got scared. So I was like, screw it, I'll just call the embassy and ask them what to do. I called the embassy, Vietnam embassy, most supportive. They just sent, e-visa का अपना है, वो कुछ भी करते हैं, हमें नहीं पता.
Yeah.
I asked them कि ये मेरे
Yeah.
को रोकेंगे क्या? They're
Yeah.
like, I don't know bro, figure
Yeah.
it out. So I was like, what else can I do?
Yeah,
They said, you can
yeah.
apply from here, but it's double the cost.
Yeah.
तो $4,500, $50 का जो है,
Yeah.
वो $100 लगेंगे. I was like,
Yeah.
screw it, I don't want any stress. I'll pay this extra money. तो मैंने
Okay.
$8,500 एक्स्ट्रा दिए.
You did it through them.
Through them.
हाँ, okay.
So they gave me a stamped visa on my passport.
Oh, perfect.
No worries.
Yeah.
वो भी मैंने 30 days मल्टीपल एंट्री अप्लाई किया था.
Okay.
जस्ट सो अगर मेरे को फ्लाइट आगे पीछे करनी है तो
Yeah.
वो भी वीजा उन्होंने मेरे को सिर्फ मेरे फ्लाइट टू फ्लाइट डेट का दिया. 30 दिन का नहीं दिया. Usually multiple entry visa when you apply they give you a range
Yeah.
because it means you are going to be coming in and going out.
Yeah. Yeah.
They gave me exact those dates of my flight, which
Yeah.
means I can't move my flights एक दिन इधर उधर.
Yeah.
If I decide to
Yeah,
extend or change
stay
my
back, yeah.
travel dates because
Yeah.
of like work or whatever.
Yeah.
I had booked flexible tickets for those. I have paid
Okay.
extra for flexible tickets for this purpose.
Oh.
But now my visas won't allow me to do that.
Yeah.
तो मेरा ये हुआ. As soon as I got my visa, Mariam's e-visa also came in.
Yeah.
And Mariam की visa में 30 दिन उसका ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, उसका सर ने वरना सब पढ़ा.
Yeah.
उसको भी 15 दिन रैंडमली
Thank you, Papa.
उसको भी बीच 30 दिन के रेंज में 15 दिन रैंडमली दिए थे of multiple entry.
Okay.
So her visa was from the 5th of February to the 20th of February. And our flight from Vietnam was on the 21st of February.
So she doesn't have a visa on the day that you're actually landing
Yeah.
there. Okay.
We are going only for 2 days.
Right.
और उसमें भी उन्होंने ये मेरे को पूरा नहीं दिया है, 30 दिन
Right.
पूरे नहीं दिए. ठीक है?
Right.
मैंने एम्बेसी को पूछा.
I feel like you're making an argument as to why I should go to an agent to
I will
book a
no, I will get to it. I will get to it. The reason I'm telling you this is there is a purpose to this story. Okay.
Yeah.
So I did this fuck up happened, and now embassy is of no help, and I was like, I'll land in Vietnam and I'll ask the immigration office in Vietnam कि देखो ये situation हुआ है, एक दिन का extension हो सकता है क्या? And maybe they'll help me out. I asked them, they said गांड मारो कुछ नहीं करते.
I love the confidence with which you're like, I'll talk to them, yeah. I'll get it sorted. I'll get it. It's not like an guest list entry at a club that I'll put you on the list.
नहीं जाते वक्त हमें इशू नहीं था ना, वापस आते वक्त इशू था. और 15 दिन का हमारा गैप था. वीजा आने में 2-3 दिन ही लगते हैं. ई वीजा मतलब it's not a complicated process.
Yeah.
So I went, I did this, they didn't allow it. So I was like, fuck, fine, I'll just apply again.
Okay.
So I sat, opened my laptop to apply for the visa, and turns out Vietnam में 10 दिन की छुट्टी चल रही है क्योंकि TET उनका न्यू ईयर है.
Oh.
It's called TET.
TET.
TET. TET.
TET. Okay.
Yeah. So that's their new year. उसके वजह से एम्बेसी 10 दिन के लिए छुट्टी पे.
Wow.
तो एम्बेसी की छुट्टी खत्म हो रही थी 15 तारीख को.
Okay.
हमारी फ्लाइट थी
20
तारीख को टू वियतनाम फ्रॉम जापान.
Yeah.
9, 15, 16 और फिर 17, 18 इज वीकेंड तो वापस छुट्टी.
Yeah.
फिर 19 और फिर 20 को हमारा ट्रैवल है.
Oh shit.
तो तीन दिन है, 3 full working days, and then 4th day we are traveling.
Yeah.
So it's a little tight
Right.
for the e-visa.
Right.
And I have the visa but she doesn't.
Yeah.
And because we're going back home, it's not like we won't be allowed on the flight.
Yeah.
And plus we have visa, she has the visa for that day. So 20 तारीख को एंट्री करके वहीं से वापस एंट्री कर दे फॉर द नेक्स्ट डे फ्लाइट, एंड शी कैन जस्ट स्टे एट द एयरपोर्ट.
Yeah.
बट अभी 2,500 का वीजा है. Obviously मैं वीजा अप्लाई करूंगा.
Okay.
And plus we want to spend the day, right? I've already put $200 worth of money into this.
Wow, you should not gamble.
Yeah.
You should never gamble.
I'm like,
You're just like, you're one of those, like, if I've lost 10,000, I have lost, I need to recover this.
100%.
Please don't invest in the stock market.
I do. I invested in Bitcoin. I lost a lot of money. And I invested more money. And now Bitcoin has come back up and I am like 40,000 up.
Mariam is not agreeing. She's literally sitting in front of you. She's like, just
But it works. It works. Don't cut your losses. Put more in.
Okay, all right.
Right. तो 2,500 का वीजा है, अप्लाई करते हैं वीजा. I applied but because of this can't do it. So now Vietnam is amazing because just like India, वहाँ पे भी ये bribery चलती है. Corruption pro max है वहाँ पे भी. मस्त है. And this visa
It's
issue.
Asia at the end of the day.
This visa issue is so prominent for Vietnam.
Yeah.
A lot of countries need the e-visa.
Right.
E-visa is very simple, but it's very arbitrary. वो कभी कभार dates ऐसे randomly देते हैं. वो कभी कभार name spelling कर देते हैं तुम्हारे वीजा में. फिर तुम एयरपोर्ट पे पहुंचोगे, तुम्हें पता चलेगा. फिर तुम गूगल करोगे, फिर गूगल पे बताएगा कि वीजा ऑन अराइवल तुम्हें मिल सकता है. उसके लिए ये लेटर चाहिए, हमें फोन करो, हम 1-2 घंटे में तुम्हें ये लेटर दे देंगे.
Okay.
उसका $100, $150, $200 लगेंगे. So like it's so prominent that the hostel I was staying in Japan when I was going through this process, but I had still 3-4 days, right? So it was cheaper for me.
Yeah.
The bribe cost me $45 and the visa was $25, $75. So I spent on Vietnam visas $275.
I want you to keep a sidebar of all the costs, like tang 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 of going
I spent
on.
total $275 for 2 days of. I spent less money in Vietnam than I did on the visa to get to Vietnam.
On the visa, oh my god.
Okay, $275. And that lady who was struggling, she spent $175 because she had to take an immediately next day flight.
Right.
She had to cancel her flight and take a next day flight.
Oh my god. So she spent on the flight as well.
And the flight, like she was like €300 or something in the hole. So I'm feeling really bad for her. But anyway.
She was white?
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me feel good then.
I mean, big loss for her also. She was also very upset. Anyway, so $275 I'm in the hole.
Yeah.
We got the visa and we went to the country and all. We spent less money there and all that. Now $275, that's roughly 8, 16, about 22,000 rupees.
Yeah.
Okay. And my Japan visa, which is 1111.
500.
So 24,000 रुपये खर्चा हुआ.
हाँ.
अगर मैं ये वीजा
Yeah.
किसी और से करवाता
Yeah.
तो मेरे को मल्टीपल एंट्री वियतनाम वीजा के लिए assuming no mistakes happen, which is not a given.
Yeah.
These guys also make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And I know because when I was going through this issue, छुट्टी का issue, मैं बहुत सारे travel agents को phone किया जो वीजा करते हैं. मैंने उनको it ended up being I was telling them कि you can get this visa on arrival letter.
Yeah.
You can do this. You can do this. They're like अच्छा ऐसा भी होता है क्या? अच्छा ऐसा भी होता है. So for sure, if I was in a soup, these guys don't know what to do.
Yeah, the quality of all travel agents is not the same.
Not the same.
Let me
sure.
just
not the same.
Definitely.
So they charged, and I have spoken to the travel agent. You recommended only. हाँ. So उनका charge था 7,000 रुपए for multiple entry. And 4,000 rupees for Japan.
Yeah.
So 7, 14.
4,000, 7,000 and 4,000. So that's 11,000.
Yeah, 7, 11 and 11, 11, 22. तो इतना सब कांड करने के बाद $175 नहीं $175 एक्स्ट्रा स्पेंड करने के बाद my cost and the fuck up cost and the travel agent cost is the same.
Yeah,
that's how much more money you end up giving the travel agent.
I agree. I'm 100% sure that if you pay a travel agent for your visas, you are definitely paying more. But I also feel like the fee you're paying for is the convenience. Is that I just have to pick up
the... Is it more convenient though?
It is more convenient because...
travel agent को भी तो मुझे मेरा income tax निकाल के देना है, ये देना है, वो देना है, सब documents उसको देने हैं. वो documents मैं इधर ये website में submit कर सकता हूँ ना, same ही बात है.
But I have to find out all these things, right? I have to find the portal to upload it. I have to... when I call up my travel agent, I just have to tell him that, hey, I need this visa and these are my docs now. Over a period of time, because I travel so much, I know I have these papers handy with me. I know this is the folder. I just have to drag and drop and send.
Yeah.
So I am still okay to let a travel agent
do paisa?
Because I don't want to constantly think about this. You know, I know for a fact that if I was in your place in Japan and this visa had not come, on those days of the travel, at the back of my head, I would constantly be thinking about this visa issue.
Yeah.
Also, in the past, what has happened with me is that my visa, when I applied on my own, has gotten rejected. Because I didn't do the paperwork correctly. So, I didn't want to go through that process again.
Yeah.
And I can pay a little extra for
but
convenience.
It's not a little, it's a lot extra. And the bigger problem that I have is these travel agents are downright stupid. मैं जब यूके का वीजा अप्लाई कर रहा था ना, तो मैं ट्रैवल एजेंट से बात कर रहा था. मैंने उसको सब डॉक्यूमेंट्स निकाल के भी दिए. मैं उसको जब भी फोन करता, सर आपने अप्लाई किया, क्या है नेक्स्ट स्टेप, क्या है. हिज फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन वुड बी आप कौन. तो मेरे को तो ये बहुत ही चुभती थी बात कि नंबर सेव कर लेना, मैं तेरे को पैसे दे रहा हूँ ना ये करने के लिए. फिर 2-3 बार ये होने के बाद वो मेरे को फोन करके कहता है कि सर आपका मैंने स्टडी किया ये, और इसमें मुझे आपका नहीं आएगा. यूके का वीजा है, वो नहीं देते. इंग्लैंड इज वेरी पर्टिकुलर विद देयर, यूके यूरोप, दीज आर वेरी पर्टिकुलर कंट्रीज विद देयर वीजा, राइट. तो नहीं मिलेगा आपका, मैंने स्टडी किया है, आप योर strong नहीं है, आपकी फाइल strong नहीं है, is the terminology used. I was so fed up at that point. I was like, screw it, I'm going to do it on my own. I did it on my own. I got my visa.
Yeah, I mean, even when my visa got rejected, one travel agent told me that, oh my God, it's going to be really hard for you to get another visa. But then I just spoke to another travel agent and he got it sorted for me. So honestly, the quality, the fact that you're a travel agent doesn't mean that the quality of all the travel agents is going to be the same. But now for the last few years... So
the amount of effort I have to put in to make sure my travel agent is a good travel agent and then also pay him the extra money. I would rather just put that effort in learning the visa process.
I mean, I don't have to. I honestly just asked my other friend who goes very often at that time that who is your travel agent, and then I just got that travel agent, and then it was honestly
it's an experience to experience basis.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's a matter of 2 phone calls for me, and I just have to tell him that this is where I want to go and this is the visa I want, and then it's sorted. I don't want to go on websites. I mean, for people who can't, the research I do to go to a destination, sometimes some people find that also a lot. But I love doing the research.
I like doing the visa research also.
Exactly. So it's about what your preferences are. I know people who don't like planning an itinerary. They outsource it to a travel agency to plan their itinerary.
Oh, I would hate that.
I can't do that because I like to know what I would like to do. So,
and I want to be flexible also.
Exactly.
On our Japan trip, we had planned a couple of things which we we just decided to cancel.
Exactly.
Or like move days around. Like हम कल जाने वाले, हम आज जाते हैं और ये चीज कल करते हैं. I want that flexibility. The reason, one of the reasons I love doing the visa process also is because you get to know the
government
relationship.
loopholes.
No, you get to know the relationship between your country and their country.
Right.
So I think it preps you for the experience that you might have in the country.
That is a very interesting point.
Because UK इतना sheltered है. It's not sheltered, like so closed off.
Yeah.
So when you go there, you know that the local public is also going to have this
attitude
perception
towards
about you.
Yeah.
They're not going to be extremely warm and welcoming.
Right.
But Japan, because of the visa process, so this thing, they are extremely warm and
that
welcoming.
Is very
because they're tourists and the visa is simple and you come and you get like just the fact that I know now that Japan ka visa agar tumhe nahi milta to wo paise refund kar dete hain.
Which doesn't happen, by the way, in
doesn't happen anywhere else.
Other countries.
I mean, I don't know if it doesn't happen, but it's rare. It doesn't happen. It's not a common thing.
Yeah.
And it's just 500 rupees.
Yeah.
But still they refund.
They make sure that they refund it.
So that in my head primes me for my experience in this country that even their government, their policies, their how they function is going to be of a certain kind.
Yeah, like where does India rank in their preferences?
Yeah. एक तो India Japan का relationship वो बहुत अच्छा है.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Japan spends a lot of money in India. They give a lot of FDI in India.
I know they host a stand-up show.
What?
No, that's a Taiwan country. Sorry.
I mean, I didn't stand up in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, Japan, because Japan is a small country and a rich country.
Yeah.
And they are so pro-max good at building infrastructure. Yeah. They've reached a ceiling of building infrastructure.
Right.
So now they go to like other big countries. They go to like third world countries and developing countries and like our Atal Setu bridge
is built by them. It's a Japanese company.
It's a JICA is their financing company.
I don't think anybody knows this, Hussain. Why do you know this?
I have had an uncle.
Why do you know this?
I know all the metro stops on all the metro lines. I know which line goes from where to where.
When you said you've become a public infrastructure nerd, you really mean it.
I mean it. I watch videos every day about I know percentage wise which metro line is how much percentage constructed.
Oh my god.
I'm very excited for line 6, which is the pink line, which goes from Lokhandwala to Vikhroli, which is like parallel to the Warsaw Ghatkopar line.
Okay.
Because that's the JVLR line. Okay. And that's a very cool line that people don't talk. People usually talk about Metro Line 3, the subway line, because that's the cool one.
Yeah.
But the ye jo upar wala line hai na, it's also unique.
Okay.
I don't think other places in India they have a metro like this. It's I think one of the tallest metros.
Yeah.
It's at a very tall height. I don't know the exact number, but very tall height. And it has a flyover on the piles. So it'll have a flyover or uske upar metro on the same pier.
When do you think we're going to see it?
It's 75% done. So couple of years.
Okay.
Like they just awarded the tender had just been floated to build the depot in Kanjur.
To who?
I don't know.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. How can you? Do your research, man.
All right. Now it's question time. Exam time. Right? I'll ask you 3 questions. You ask me 3 questions.
Yeah.
Why don't you start?
There are 2 mark questions. Okay.
2 mark questions.
Yeah, the 2 mark questions. What are my trusted apps to book accommodation while backpacking?
Hostelworld and booking.com.
Correct. Very simple questions I have. What is the guidebook's name I told you that I refer to when I plan a trip?
I'm so glad I made that joke because I remember it because of it.
Yeah.
It's the story of your life. Lonely Planet.
Okay, I just want to clarify that backpacking and solo traveling does not means lonely. It means being comfortable with yourself. And I'll tell you what it means. I'll tell you what it means. If you want to find a partner and you want your partner to be okay with you, how can you expect your partner to be okay with you if you can't be okay in your own company?
Wow.
I mean, I'm serious.
Deep. That's deep. That's true.
You have to learn to be okay in your own company if you want your partner to be okay around you.
True. That's so much yoga talk. Is really irritating. Like, oh, I do yoga, I have good mental health. I can spend time alone by myself and not start hating everything
I
about
think
me.
having the right partner is the key to having the right mental health. Thank you guys.
I can say that too.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
That's why your mental health is good. Because you have the right partner.
I have the right partner. And that's why her mental health is bad. Because I am not the right partner. Okay. This is the tough one.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll save this for later. I'll ask you simple. What is the cost of a Japanese visa?
500 rupees.
Total cost.
For you and Mariam?
I'm not giving you more details because this is a question you have to... If you didn't pay attention, you won't know. No. Okay, one person's total cost.
Oh, fuck. 500 and 2,500.
No. Wrong answer.
You said 500 so many times.
Yeah, 500 and 650 rupees VFS
Yeah,
charges.
1100. So you were wrong. It's 1150.
1150, yeah.
You kept saying 1100.
No, I said 1150.
Go back. Ask Richard. Please find it.
Richard, here, put it here. जापान का वीजा 500 का है और VFS प्रोसेसिंग चार्ज 650 रुपए का लेती है.
Do anything else,
1150 होता है ना. हाँ, 1150 का वीजा आता है. It's a very simple process.
Yeah.
1150.
VFS costs you can't exclude. You have to do it through VFS. That's what he has said. Okay,
so
fine.
1150.
Okay.
And then next question is what is...
Oh, I remembered my question.
You don't question. Okay. What is the cost of a UK visa?
20.
I actually didn't cover it, but you should know as a traveler.
I don't do my visas, no.
Oh, you don't do your visas. Yeah, you won't know. Okay.
But I'll tell you what it must be. It must be like 7,000.
You're close. Yeah. It's about... I think they increased the cost now. It must be around 10,000 now. 10, 11,000 now it is.
Okay.
But it was like about 8, 9,000 some time back. Plus, rupee fluctuates.
Fluctuates,
right?
okay.
So, वो उसकी वजह से change
Yeah.
होता है. It's about 100
So I
pounds.
basically got both the answers wrong. Questions wrong. Okay. Yeah.
Fair. But
Last question.
The second question I asked you because I couldn't think of another question.
Yeah. Okay.
This one is a tough one.
Yeah.
Which I feel like you won't get. I'm
Okay.
excited to see if
Okay.
you can. There are two types of ways you can get visa to Vietnam. What are the two visas?
E-visa
Yeah.
and visa on arrival.
But how do you get the visa on arrival? You can't
How
just...
you get it as
like, you
by
can't just
having
show
a
up.
British passport or American passport.
No. I think even British and American people can't just land up.
Enter
in-
Vietnam.
Then-
You know what my favorite thing about the fact is like when white people have to come to India and then they have to apply for a visa and they complain about like, oh my god, the wait for the visa is so long. I'm like, yeah, we've learned the hard way.
you know
Y'all need a visa to enter our
It's
country.
so irritating to see these like travel influencer, white travel influencers who are going to be like, so I'm going to take a flight every day to see where I land up in 30 days. The cheapest flight every day and see where I land up in 30 days. What? You can't do that.
They have a very strong
You can't
passport.
just go to random countries. You can.
They have a
these
strong
are-
passport.
For them, it's like I have to get a visa. Like it's like that.
Yeah.
It's so irritating.
So what was your question? What are the two types of visas?
Yeah, e-visa and visa on
How do
arrival.
you-
You can get visa on arrival, but for that you need a document, which is a
Letter of recommendation, cover letter,
letter.
employment,
It's a visa on arrival approval letter.
approval letter. Yeah.
I'll give you half a mark for that.
Yeah.
Chalo. So I'll give you the UK ka answer
So
because
I
it's
have
tough.
actually made my
1.5.
case stronger that I do need a travel agent. And I can't do without a travel agent.
No, but I'm saying it's a lot more economical and you learn a lot more about the country's relationship and stuff like that if you apply for the visa yourself. I feel.
Yeah, I will try for one country. Maybe once I'll try. I'll give it a shot. My last question to you was, what are the two blogs that I refer to when I look at itineraries?
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
This is tough. I don't remember the name. It's gone. It's gone with the wind.
I'll tell you.
Nomad something?
Nomadic Matt.
Nomadic Matt.
Nomadic Matt and My Funky Travel.
My Funky Travel. Nomadic Mag and My Funky Travel. Good recommendations from someone who's done a lot of solo travels.
Yes.
Yeah.